Yo guys, welcome back to another update on Tropical Storm Agatha, which has formed and was named an hour to 2 hours ago. Now, this system has 45 mile an hour winds. I think it's a little bit stronger. 50 mile an hour winds, I think. I'm just like 5 miles an hour above the NHC, what they are predicting, because as of 7 a.m. Central Daylight Time, Saturday, May the 29th, April Advisory 2, maximum sustained winds is 40 knots, which is 45 miles an hour, minimum central pressure is 1002 millibars, located at 13.1 degrees north and 98.4 degrees west. Movement west at 4 knots, which is 5 miles an hour. So west is basically like that. Now we do have an area of interest in the Atlantic right here off the coast. Now the owl bands off Agatha. Obviously, when Agatha moves forth, this system will suck up all the moisture off Agatha and start to thrive. Now I will show you here we go. Here is the low pressure area. Now if this does form before June 1st, which is highly unlikely, but if this does form on May the 31st, which is in May the 28th now, 4 days. This forms in 4 to 3 days from now, which is possibly won't happen, but if it does, then I'm pretty sure that this will become Alex, and then we could see Bonnie form over here, move towards the Bahamas and go like that, and we could see Colin as a subtropical storm up here somewhere. So anyway, the most important thing is Agatha right now. Agatha, let me see what it's saying. Agatha is now a tropical storm. There's hurricane warnings for Wallaka, Kalima. Well, I'm not sure about Kalima, but I don't know those other places along the coast of Mexico. But for Wallaka, you've got a hurricane watch. You've got hurricane watches out in Wallaka. You're going to be getting some rainfall as far from Guatemala all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe even you could get some rainfall north of Cuba as well here. And as Agatha comes through, obviously Agatha's going to do this. Now, whether it dies off over land, that's a different story. Because if it dies off over land, another system off the coast the remnants of Agatha will move into the Bay of Campeche and then reform as Alex. But if this does survive, like it's supposed to be a tropical depression there, it'll become Tropical Depression 1L. Then we'll have Alex, which possibly could happen because we have seen an Atlantic crossover in 2020 from the A-name storm to the C-name storm. So Amanda formed on May 30th, dissipated on moved. Well, basically Amanda went up like this, came up like this, looped back around over the coast and then made landfall again. Now, at this point, when it got into the Bay of Campeche, it was called Cristobal. Now, southern Mexico, you should watch out for this system. You could get a Category 1 or Category 2 force winds. It's uncertain yet whether this system is going to become a Category 3, Category 4, Category 1 or Category 2. We know definitely it's going to be a Category 1. But this system could start a phase of rapid intensification very soon, maybe? Not quite sure. But this system could start rapidly intensifying very shortly. And as you can see, the cone of uncertainty, this is the 3-day cone of uncertainty. So 3 days from now is Tuesday. Okay, now Monday. 3 days from now is Monday. So about Tuesday, it will be here. Wednesday, it will be here, which is on the 1st. And then Thursday, it will probably be in the Bay of Campeche. Now we don't know whether it's going to move towards Texas or recurve back. What Cristobal did. But I'm going to show you the satellite imagery now. The satellite imagery is better than my tropical depression one, to be honest with you. So here is the satellite imagery. Now this system is getting so much better. You can clearly see the outer bands are way more defined, because before they were both like that, which are good, and then you had this big blob here, which is basically the center. But a couple of days ago, you only had a little blob here, trying to wrap around, and you only had a little blob around the convection, which was only covering half of the storm. Now you got some high convection towards the east of the storm. Now dry air is not a problem, wind shear is not a problem. For the whole of its life, wind shear will be below 10 knots, maybe even below 5 knots. The only thing stopping the storm is itself. Now, whether it becomes strong, we don't know, because because as Force 13 said, this time of the year, you don't really get significant landfalling major hurricanes on Mexico in May, because the mountain region is so high up here. It will end up shearing the storm off in like 4 hours, maybe less than that. But as you can see, you got, this is the convection of the storm now. As you can see, you can clearly see. I will show you satellite imagery, because I'm pretty sure right now a new update will be coming out very shortly, actually. Now here's visible satellite imagery. Look at that. This is a beautiful looking storm. As you can see, you got the big outer bands here, which are producing a heavy lot of rainfall. So yeah. Anyway, I'll show you forecast models now. Forecast models that I'm going to go through the Western Pacific all the way to the Atlantic. So, in the Western Pacific, we have 92W right now, which is over here. Could form, might not form, but it briefly forms, then weakens as it heads towards the north, and then weakens again, and then we do see an invest over here, and then obviously then that comes over, rapidly weakens, and does absolutely nothing. So the Eastern Pacific now. So apparently the models have not caught up with this, because apparently this is on June the 7th. There we go. As you can see, the GFS is super bullish with this system and want this system to make landfall as a Category 3 cyclone. This is May the 30th, obviously. They want it to be 952 millibars, which I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. 960, 970, 960, 982. So it starts to rapidly weaken on May the 30th, which is a Monday. I'll be covering the system all day. As you can see, it moves into the Atlantic. Now it dies over the Pacific, as you clearly can see. And you got two systems. Now, whether it does form, because the GFS does see something trying to form, but then moves back into Mexico and has something in Mexico, and then that dies off. And then you see, basically, you have another tropical, three more tropical entities after this system. Basically, you got Blas, which most likely will probably form on June the 9th. Most likely, as you can see. And maybe Carlos, but that's probably too far down the line. Now, the big stuff that's happening, the North Atlantic. Will we get 3 named storms in June? Possibly. Possibly not, but we could do. As you can see, Agatha moves there. As you can see, as Agatha moves into the Atlantic, you can clearly see rotation in the southern Gulf of Campeche. That's an open wave. That's a closed low, as you can see. Then the one, as you can see, now this becomes Alex. Then we could have Bonnie. Maybe Colin somewhere in the Gulf. Don't know. And as you can see, you can clearly see right now, on June 13th, we have nothing active. Tell you why. MJO is not supposed to be coming into the Atlantic until May 30th. And then doesn't go away until June the 5th, June the 6th. So, and that's when the Pacific will possibly get more active again, because June is pretty much the most active period of the Eastern Pacific. Even though it performs weak storms in June, you can still get hurricanes in June. So, anything could happen, but as you clearly can see, we have the massive Bermuda high right now over Bermuda, which is stopping any systems any tropical systems of moving up here. if this was in the late season, if we were in the late season now, any hurricanes that form will be pushed towards the coastlines, like this. The weaker, so if it's back over here, it'll go like this. If it's far back over here, where England is and Spain is over here, the storms can have more time to push up north. But if it's very strong like that, most of the storms will go like this, basically, if it's super strong. So basically like this. And then the systems will be pushed south into the Caribbean, move up, and honestly I think that this part of the Caribbean will be a hot spot this year for some really big time storms. So anyway, we've got Invest 92p, which doesn't really look as good as it did, but it could form. We've got Invest 93w, which possibly could form, but I don't think 92p will form, to be honest with you. So as you can see, Agatha is here. I will show you the visible short wave now, which looks super good on satellite imagery. Look at that. That is a beautiful looking storm, as you can clearly see. Good inflow bands, good outflow as well. What we like to see is this breathing of the system. If the system is ventilating well, basically like this, that means the cloud tops are high up in the atmosphere, which are up here. It's breathing well, doesn't have much wind shear, has no dry air, and nothing. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll be doing another update as soon as the cone changes, or as soon as the intensity changes. So I'll see you guys in the next video. I guess peace and have a great day.